The Honda Transalp was a motorcycle I didn't even know existed until Honda brought out their new parallel twin version in 2023. Looking back, apparently this thing was a cult classic, mainly in the European market, with some bikes selling stateside. The classic Transalp had a V-twin running anywhere from 583 cc's to 680 and putting down between 50 and 52-ish horsepower. It took a dirt nap in 2013 and awaited patiently in the afterlife for Honda like a crazed necromancer to raise it from the dead as they shouted, "Me too!" while the middleweight ADV craze took off. In typical Honda fashion, they were late to the game, but they allowed everyone else to make their mistakes and sat on the sidelines, learning, plotting, scheming. When I saw the new Transalp specs, I was a little underwhelmed. It was another parallel twin with a 270-degree crank like every other middleweight ADV bike in the game. But then Honda said, "Wanna bet?" and invited me to ride 1,100 miles on a Transalp from Eureka, California to LA. Let's see whether or not I was right or if I'm gonna be eating crow. Morning, folks. Now for the real intro. We're out here in Eureka, California with Honda and a pile of Transalps. We're going to be riding these and the Africa Twin for a whole week, going through all sorts of beautiful California backcountry, and I'm going to spend a serious amount of time with the Transalp, which I'm very excited for because I have yet to ride one. So I'm starting to hold up the line, so let's suit up, get ready to roll.
Alrighty guys, we are underway here. We're heading out into some place with a lot of redwoods, apparently. I don't know exactly where we're going, but we've got a 200-ish mile ride today, and I'm currently following Johnny Campbell, 11-time Baja 1000 winner, and Ricky Brabeck, 2-time Baja 1000, I think. Or no, Dakar. 2-time Dakar winner. I'm forgetting everybody's accolades, but I am one of the dumbest riders on this ride. So that's usually how I like it, because I can learn something from fast guys. Well guys, this'll make you look small. I'm from Texas. We don't get trees like this in Texas. I will say, now that I have to kind of do a little bit of review stuff, I hate these this left cluster's driving me nuts because it's got 2 rocker switches. I keep hitting the rocker switch thinking it's the blinkers, and it's not. This is the blinker. That's driving me nuts. Because usually, like on a Honda, the horn is here in the middle, and I get used to that. But now there's a rocker switch, so I feel it, and my brain can't comprehend what's happening yet. Maybe after a couple of days, I'll work that out of my system.
Alrighty folks, we're here somewhere, no idea where. California, that's where we're at. And we've been goofing around on the Transalp all morning. And I gotta say, I'm really impressed with it. We haven't gotten it off-road yet, but on the highway, the windshield is shockingly good. If I had just an extra inch or maybe a little bit more of a lip there, I would be completely covered on the highway. I'm really impressed with that windscreen.
Suddenly we're going downhill on the Transalp, and this came up kind of unexpectedly, so I'm just sort of taking it easy because it's all under this dappled tree cover, so it's a little bit tough for me to see what's coming.
Well, day one is officially in the books, and we just got back from one of the prettiest rides I've ever been on. We didn't hit much in the way of dirt, and that one time I was on dirt, I was completely unprepared for it. It just sort of snuck up on me. But the bike did fine. Everything else, the like chewed up asphalt, the just beautiful twisties, the Transalp crushed it, man. It rides almost like a naked bike, which is really kind of funny when you think about it. But now I need to go take a shower and get my stanky self ready for dinner because I'm very hungry. See you guys in the morning. Now, you may have noticed that camera on my handlebars is sitting on a quad lock phone mount. That's because Quad Lock has been hard at work making way more than just phone cases and mounts. They have everything from wireless chargers, smart chargers, wallets, rain ponchos, and more. Not to mention that they have a wide variety of mounts so that you can find just the right setup for your ride. Every single one of my bikes has a Quad Lock phone mount on it, and I've been carrying one on all of my trips just because of the convenience of having my phone on the handlebars. Check out everything that Quad Lock has to offer by clicking that link down in the description below. And a huge shout out to Quad Lock for sponsoring this video. Morning everybody, welcome to day 2. We are getting ready to head out for roughly 300 miles today. Half of it is going to be on the highway, and then the other half is going to be dirt. It's going to be hard-packed gravel, and for the most part, it's not going to be super crazy, but we might see some terrain. It's going to be the sort of thing that most guys and gals who are buying an adventure bike like this are going to be encountering. Excuse me. And I think it's going to be a decent test, but we are going to get to shake this bike down off-road. And shake down the Tenere off-road for the first time. So let's hit the road.
Guys, it's MSRH. I'm just kidding. This is pretty hard packed stuff, but I am able to light up the rear tire and get a little bit of dust going, so this isn't exactly hard adventure, but this is also the kind of stuff that most ADV guys are probably doing on average. You know, there's those guys who are definitely going out and hitting twin track and all that. But most guys getting a bike like this, they're hitting big gravel roads like this, fast flowy stuff, and not doing too much more than that. I'm letting the rally guys get out ahead of me because this dust is just clinging to the ground here. I'd like to know where I'm going. Now, the biggest thing I really want to mention here about the Transalp, this is one of the most annoying features for me on this motorcycle, and it's something that a lot of ADV bikes do actually get wrong. If you are going to make an ADV bike with ABS, you need a button. You just need a button on your cluster somewhere that you press and hold for 5 or 3 seconds, and that allows you to turn ABS off. At least turn ABS off at the rear wheel. Because if you're not able to turn it off at the rear wheel quickly, that's a real pain in the butt. It doesn't matter if it resets. You know, if you turn the key off and you have to reset it for EU or whatever, totally fine. But at least give me the ability to turn ABS off quickly, because For the Transalp, the way you have to do it is kind of rubbing your stomach and patting your head at the same time. You have to go into the mode selection, and I've only been able to do this on the user mode, so you got to be in user. Then you need to press and hold the mode button so that everything starts blinking. Cycle over to ABS. Once you're at ABS, you need to push up on this like multifunction button here. Once you push up, and you got to hold it for, I think, 3 seconds. And then you have to confirm whether or not you want the rear wheel ABS off. And then it lights up a little thing on the dashboard that says, hey, your ABS is off. That is mega annoying, Honda. That is very, very annoying. Let's talk a little bit about the ergonomics for off-road riding. No surprise, no ADV bike right out of the gate fits me, but this one's pretty close. This one's pretty close. I've adjusted the handlebars so that they're swept a little bit more forward and also up. But it's still not a great fit. I'm not gonna lie. I have to cant forward at my hips to have like a nice bend in my elbows, which gives me that sort of attack position that I like. But I don't like being here for extended periods of time. That being said, though, the fit is better than I expected. Standing up on it for extended periods of time is plenty comfortable. I do also like that you can go in the user mode and individually set all of the settings. So, like, I've got the power turned down, I've got the traction control at its most permissive, and I have the engine braking turned all the way, or well, as close to all the way off as I can get it. I would like to play with the other modes, but the problem is figuring out how to turn the ABS off is keeping me in user mode. I know how to do it in the user mode. I don't know how to do it in the others. Alrighty, folks. Face is stuffed, bikes are empty. We need to go find a gas stop, and then we've got 2.5 hours-ish of riding to knock out before we end up in Sacramento. I think this is gonna be mostly on the street, if not entirely on the street, so I'll probably montage through all of this. This here lonely stretch of California highway, California, is definitely going to bring up one of the downsides of the Transalp. So we're cruising, we're not really having much fun right now, and I can tell that because I'm getting 50.7 miles to the gallon. And unfortunately, if we're just going to be cruising, I want cruise control, and this bike does not have it. It's got a ride-by-wire. There's definitely space on these clusters for cruise control. Just doesn't have it. If they're going to do a up-spec model of the Transalp, it definitely needs to have cruise control. I forgot to charge my Cardo last night. It made it almost all day. But I think we got about 20 miles left, and it's giving out. I'm not gonna lie, guys. This stretch, it's been a lot like work. This one kind of sucked. Well, people, we made it. I'm gonna go in the room. Bye. Alrighty, folks, we just pulled over a little bit here to rest and relax while cruising down these twisties. These twisties are beautiful. I just finished up the first impressions video on the DC Twin here, which you know, I'm enjoying it. Let me put it this way: I would have wanted more from it, but that's not what it's designed to do, so I'm not going to hold it against it. Hopefully that makes sense. You know,
this bike's not a sport bike. It's a big sport touring thingamabob. So me wanting it to be what it's not isn't fair.
Yeah, I think until I get an opportunity to switch back to the Transalp, I'm probably just going to be being easy, just enjoying the ride.
Alrighty guys, we took a quick break here at the top of the hill. We're at the Lick Observatory, which that telescope in there is pretty freaking badass. And I get to go down the hill on the Transalp this time, so I'm very excited to be on a lighter bike, something a little bit more flickable, because these roads are quite enjoyable. So let's get moving.
Oh man, guys, almost immediately, I feel so much more comfortable on the Transalp. It's so much lighter, it stops quicker, and it flicks so much faster despite being on a 21-inch front end. I'm really impressed with what Honda managed to make this bike do. It feels so nice around a corner. And the motor is so pokey. It's like an adventure bike that wants to be a naked bike, or a naked bike cosplaying as an adventure bike. And I don't say that disingenuously. It's just, it feels that nice. This is fun. This is a fun bike, guys. Oh, it's such a fun bike. All right, I'm gonna turn the cameras off, and I'm just gonna enjoy coasting down this hill on my little ADV sport bike situation here.
Now that was the ticket, guys. That was a lot of fun. Came down that whole mountain there. Giant mountain range. And this thing rides a lot more like a supermoto than you'd think. Especially if you really start wailing on the rear brake and you can sort of let it step out a little bit. Oh, it's fun. It's really, really fun. Very actually impressive for an evening bike. But let's get back on the road, and I don't know what else we're doing today. I think we've done like 150 to 180 miles. We still got another 120 to knock out, so gotta make tracks. Well, we just stopped for a second, and I stopped and I was like, what's that smell? That's my rear brake. I've been using a lot of rear brake. You jam on the rear brake on this bike and it just starts turning instantly. It's great. I'm almost using more rear brake than I am front, engine and rear brake, and
it changes directions so quickly, and then you just hop right back on the throttle. This bike's phenomenal. I'm really falling in love with it. It's comfy, it's fast, and I don't know. It looks a little drab in black, I'm not gonna lie. I'd love to see the 3-color scheme come to the States. That would be really nice. But I'm gonna call it a day, guys. We're gonna finish up this ride, go back to the hotel, grab a beer, and grab some dinner. And I will see you tomorrow for another 200-ish miles, I think. How are you already so full of energy?
A giant cold brew.
I'm just sitting here listening to you talk, and you're like all full of life and stuff.
Yeah, that's why I have to get the cold brew, man. It just works.
Alrighty, folks. What better way to round out this whole tour than ending up on the Pacific Coast Highway on my way down into LA. We've covered over 1,100 miles on Transalps, and Jess and I even added an extra 200 going down to San Francisco on Africa Twins. But I wanted to take a second here at the end of this event to have a little bit of a chat, wrapping up my thoughts on the Transalp, because I've now put down a lot of miles and a lot of hours in the saddle. We've been doing several 10+ hour days in a row on this motorcycle, and I've developed a lot of thoughts about it. Let's start out with the bad first. So, the quick shifter. I've ridden a couple of different Transalps in the fleet, and I can confidently say that the quick shifter is not perfect. The quick shifter does have flaws. As you go through the gears, if you're more mellow, it's fine. If you're just cruising and you're clicking up and down gears and stuff, totally fine. You're not gonna have any issues. But if you are starting to ride this bike in a more aggressive and sporty manner, especially down lower in the gears, you'll notice that the quick shifter isn't as flawless as it should be, given that this is a Honda motorcycle. I'm willing to forgive a little bit of jankiness on a KTM, but that's because KTM quick shifters have always been ass. I know Honda can do better, and I'd love to see them take another whack at the quick shifter on this motorcycle. The next thing, dealing with the menus on this motorcycle, it's a bit of a pain in the butt. Any ADV bike really should just have a button that disables ABS. I also believe that this motorcycle should have cruise control from the factory. Going through the menus is fine. There's a lot of stuff that's buried in there, and it's a little obtuse to get in and change a lot of that stuff around. But it's not impossible. It's just, it could be, the user experience could be smoothed out a little bit. The last thing on here that I'm not a big fan of, the looks. This bike in all black is kind of drab. I'd really like to see this in person with something other than just black and red, because this is a plain Jane colorway, and this motorcycle could be really flashy, really attention-getting. So I'd love to see some additional colorways come out. But you'll notice that those are kind of small faults that I found with this motorcycle, and that's because there really aren't a lot of big ones. The handling on this thing is so good around a corner. It feels so nice. The motor is punchy with a lot of torque and a good rush of power up top. And yes, I know people are going to talk about the Fortnite video. I know you're talking about it. I know you're leaving it in the comments. I get it. Fortnite made a video saying that the power's not that great on here. I don't know what he's smoking, man. Power feels fine to me. Feels totally commensurate with the package that this thing is. The only time I really felt like I was wanting for power was when I pushed it close to triple digits. Just gonna say that. If you're riding this thing at triple digit speeds, perhaps you should look at buying yourself a rally Dakar motorcycle, or, you know, maybe look at a super sport. The brakes feel great. The tip-in feels so good. The bike, it's a very well thought out package. It's comfortable for cruising. This taller windscreen is super, super effective. I really dig this motorcycle. And while we didn't really get to test it off-road, I mean, you know, we did road in your country kind of off-roading, a lot of, you know, wide flowing dirt, but that's kind of what the average buyer of this motorcycle is going to be riding on, and it felt fine. You know, the tires were really hard. We didn't drop tire pressure, and that would have made me feel a lot more confident on this motorcycle. Tire pressure off-road makes such a big difference. Also having slightly more aggressive knobbies on here, but then you sacrifice a little bit of highway comfort. So honestly, I can't fault it because it did it. It really just did it. It's done everything that I could throw at it and more. And with that, guys, I'm gonna wrap this video up. This has been a journey going from Northern California all the way down to LA. And it's been awesome to ride all of these different motorcycles back to back to back to back. And a huge, huge shout out to Honda for bringing me out. This has been an unbelievable experience. And honestly, it's a great way to get to know this bike, especially in the theater, shall we say, that I think a lot of guys and gals who are picking it up are going to be using it in. And on that note, guys, I'm going to wrap this one up. Let me know your thoughts on the Transalp down in the comments below. And my Huff and Glue is Fortnite Huff and Glue. Let me know everything down there. Yeah, go have fun. If you've made it this far in the video, let me know what colorway you'd want to see this one in. That'll be fun. Let me know what kind of special colors you would put on the Transalp, because the black just that ain't doing it for me. Catch you guys in the next one. See you later.